So, what is feasibility study? Well, in simple terms, it's a process to pre-evaluate the idea for its chance of success before committing time and energy. We do a feasibility study to determine the factor that will convert an opportunity into a grand success. It is like checking the route map of your favorite destination before you're hitting the road, or checking your bank balance before you're boarding on a flight for Eurotrip. Similarly, before committing resources to a new project, senior leadership and project manager would want to know, can this project succeed? Is the proposed idea being actually feasible? And even if project is successful, will outcome justify the cost and effort it took to achieve them? Answer to this question ultimately decide the fate of the project. And all these answers are determined through a feasibility study. Feasibility is always hard to prove because it's inherent uncertainty nature. But don't worry, I got you covered. In the next few minutes, we will learn about feasibility and how to do an effective feasibility study in 7 simple steps. Also, there is one critical factor which is often downplayed by a project manager while conducting a feasibility study. This factor ultimately decides the fate of your success, and I will discuss this later in this video, so stay tuned. Now, coming back to the main question, what is feasibility study? Basically, it's an assessment of proposed plan or method. A feasibility study analyzes the practicality of proposed project and assess how likely the project is going to succeed. Feasibility study identify key goals, relevant factor, and examine the market research and details of the resource and budget that are required to successfully execute the project. Feasibility study helps management to make better informed decisions regarding the projects which get funded or which get scrapped. And that is what feasibility study is. Well, sounds easy, right? However, it's not an easy task to perform every time. Usually, there are 5 types of feasibility study which are separated by area. The first type of study is technical feasibility. This assessment focuses on the technical resource availability to an organization. It helps organization to determine whether a technical resource meets capacity or whether a technical team is capable of converting the idea into a working system. The second type is economic feasibility. This assessment typically involves a cost and benefit analysis of the project. This involves organization to determine the cost and benefit associated with the project before the financial resources are allocated. The third one is legal feasibility. This assessment investigates whether any project proposed conflicts with legal requirements like government policy, zoning law, data protection, social media law, and so on. Let's say an organization wants to construct a new office building in a specific location. A feasibility study might reveal the organization ideal location is not zoned for the specific type of business. That organization has just saved considerable amount of money and time by learning that the project is not feasible right from the beginning. The fourth one is operational feasibility. This assessment involves undertaking a study to analyze and determine whether and how well the organization needs can be met by completing this project. Operational feasibility studies also examine how a project plan satisfies the requirement identified in a phase of system development. Fifth one is scheduling feasibility. This assessment is most important for project success. After all, a project will fail if not completed on time. In scheduling feasibility, an organization estimates how much time the project will take to complete. When determining how to approach a business need, problem, or opportunity, it's important to determine whether your plan of attack is feasible or not. Also, you need to know what step is required to be successful. How do you separate a feasible project from a misguided one? So, let's talk about how to conduct a feasibility study. Here are the 7 steps for an effective feasibility study which will ensure your success. The first one is preliminary analysis. Yes, you heard it right. Just as a feasibility study determines whether a proposed idea is worth of effort, the preliminary analysis determines whether a feasibility study itself is justified. The fact is that conducting a feasibility study is an intensive and time-consuming process, and the preliminary analysis will look into to uncover any roadblock that would render the feasibility study useless. The second step is defining the scope. Before you can determine the potential impact of a project, you have to get clear on the project scope. This includes defining the project goal, task, phase, cost, deliverable, and deadline. Project scope is also identify the internal stakeholder as well as external clients and customers. The third step is to do the market research. Is there a demand for this particular product in the market it seeks to serve? This is a critical information to know before you committing a project. It's precisely what the market research seeks to answer. The market research also gives insight into the current competitive landscape and helps to identify the factors like geographic influence of the market and the market's overall value as well as demographic. The fourth step is to perform the financial assessment. Naturally, a feasibility study will break down and analyze the financial cost and the risk involved with the project. Costs may include the human resource, equipment, material, software, hardware, facility, and third-party services. Additionally, the financial assessment will look into the potential impact that a project failure will have on the bottom line. The fifth step is to assess the risk and alternative solution. What are the potential problems and circumstances that will lead to the project delay or even failure? What are some of the alternative solutions that will help to solve this problem? Most feasibility study will include this kind of assessment and factors. The very next step is reassessment of a study you have done so far. At this step, you should seek a reassessment of entire feasibility study from top to the bottom by your fellow team member, project manager, colleague, or other relevant stakeholders. Having a fresh set of eyes on a study will help ensure that you don't miss any critical element or miscalculate the potential project impact. The final step is to make a go or no-go decision. When it's all said and done, the feasibility study comes down to one big thing. Is project approved to move forward or not? With the most out of a feasibility study, seeking feedback from a seasoned colleague or manager can give you a deep insight into the factors you have listed. This will help you to fill in the element that you haven't considered. Additionally, you will want to verify the data and intel you have collected to make sure it makes sense. Another thing to notice while doing the feasibility study is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel for each project. If your organization conducts the project regularly, then you will probably have the access of the feasibility study example from your previous projects. Use this template and be efficient.